Hello everyone, I'm Libby Stover and this is my ePortfolio highlight video. To start, I have my slide about goals, and a lot of my professional goals revolved around getting this degree or going through this program and um, becoming a principal. But the interesting part about that is through going through this program, I realized I don't want to just be an elementary school principal. I would be totally happy and actually ecstatic to become a secondary principal as well. Now, granted, I've only taught at an elementary school for most of my career, but being a K through 12 PE teacher, um, it's given me that opportunity to kind of broaden through grade levels and see the pros and cons of both. And um, it's interesting to see how at the beginning of this program I was like, no, I want to only be elementary principal. And now I'm like, you know what? It might be a very interesting opportunity to be secondary as well. So we'll see what happens. Um, as for my personal goals, I wanted to kind of explore more into outdoor education, and I was doing that by going rock climbing every month in Kansas City and learning things about rock climbing. However, now with the COVID pandemic, things have kind of changed a little bit, so I don't think I'll be rock climbing anytime soon, unfortunately. Um, Moving on to my leadership philosophy, I've always liked to be connected with people. So it's no surprise that I went into the teaching profession, and what I learned from this program is it's not just being connected with people and forming relationships, um, it's investing in people and really making that a priority, really making it a priority to build relationships with teachers, with community members, students, with really anyone who's involved in the education program. And that is really the foundation of being a successful leader. Um, I also realized that instruction needs to be executed in a way that is focused on personalized learning for our students and preparing them for a world that we don't even know yet. Because when they graduate, it'll be in a world that the jobs look different, the technology will look different, and we need to prepare them for the unknown. And I think that's one thing I always find myself coming back to is teaching social and emotional learning in school needs to be prioritized more. I myself have a degree in health education, and I really, really wholeheartedly believe that social, mental, emotional education needs to take more of a precedent and priority in our school systems because that is something we know our students will need even 20 years from now. They need to know how to have a healthy lifestyle, not just about being physically active, but the whole being a well rounded person, just like ESSA states in a lot of their expectations. But um, that is my leadership philosophy, and it's kind of evolved through this program. And when I started this program, it was in the fall of 2018, and I took 12 credits each semester. And this semester, I really just focused on my e-portfolio, making sure it's something I'm proud of and that I want to share with people. And my resume, it looks pretty simple, but I like it. It's clean, it's fresh, and I'm excited for when Fort Hays State University won't have this expected graduation date anymore. I also have my experiences on there, which the one that I'm probably most proud of is being the assistant program director for the First Tee of Manhattan, which is a nonprofit organization that promotes or builds character in students through the game of golf, and it's for kids K through 12. But the reason why I'm really proud of this is because I played a manager type role and I learned so much. Like managing adults is so much different than managing kids. I had coaches where they were in high school and it was their first time ever being a coach in the summer. It was just like a first year teacher. But then I also had those coaches who had been there longer than me and had more experience than me. So learning how to motivate, encourage, and help all those people on that spectrum learn and become a better coach and like build their schedule, it was probably something that gave me more insight on the whole picture of being a principal than any other teaching job I've ever had. Um, as for my professional history, I've presented at quite a few conferences. I was a PYFP instructor, which I got to present to Kansas City teachers, and it was like 120 teachers. And now that I've had those experiences, it's kind of prepared me for any public speaking or being able to stand up in front of staff or a staff of like 50 people and present things. So that's why I wanted to include that, because I'm not afraid to stand up and present to adults and have that public speaking opportunity. And I also have a list of some of my awards on there too. But moving on to my activities, because this is where I feel like I got quite a bit of my experience, and some of the stuff that I'm most proud of is my work for the district. I did a lot of work for their elementary schools, not as much for secondary, but that's okay, because honestly, the secondary I probably learned more from, just because I'm not in that environment quite as much. So um, the professionals that kind of verified these activities, my my principal, she kind of led up being my mentor for elementary and secondary, because I did go out of district for some of my activities. So she was kind of the one that I um, communicated with and gave her documentation for. And there were a few days where I missed some professional development in our district to go attend another district's um, day at school, so to speak. Um, as for the district, Lucas Shivers, he's one of our curriculum directors at the district. He was the one who really um, gave me opportunities to help at the district level. He asked if I'd be on the wellness committee, personalized learning cohort, a lot of really educational opportunities for myself. And speaking of educational opportunities, this annotated bibliography, I got to read a huge variety of um, articles. And I would say there's only like three or four that I read where I'm like, you know what, this article really isn't the best, or maybe it's poorly written, maybe the content isn't quite what I had hoped for it to be. But I still included it because through reading and processing and dissecting it, I learned something for myself out of that. And I think that's the point of this. And that's why I included those few articles. Now, many of the articles on here were awesome. Uh, they're about professional development, how to influence instruction in your school, how to build professional capacity. But the topic for me that I personally um, found myself being passionate about was the principal's role in providing social justice and including these communities. Like one of my articles was about an LGBT community at elementary school levels and how principals can support them. And I think that's something that a lot of principals maybe shy away from because it is such a controversial topic, but it needs to be addressed. And principals have to be able to put themselves in uncomfortable situations to represent minorities and support them through their educational career. And those were the articles I loved the most because, promoting students with disabilities, or I mean, people with disabilities is literally the most diverse minority, and they need to be represented in our schools. So I found myself, even right now, I find myself getting passionate about those topics and how a principal has a role and a responsibility to make sure that their school is being inclusive to all. Um, Moving on to my activities for the district. Like I said earlier, I did some stuff with Lucas Shivers. I went to a Wellness is a Blast conference, and that's where principals across the state um, came in, and we learned about like the lunch school programs and different things that like farm to table, different things that schools are doing to make that better for their students and their district. I got to serve on Marlat's interviews, which is a different school in the district, and it's not the school I attend. I just got to go as a district representative, so to speak. I also, like I said earlier, went to district wellness meetings, and those ranged, I mean, we talked to Girls on the Run, we did fundraisers. There was a whole slew of things that committee did. I also dispersed curriculum And this was my first experience of kind of realizing what it feels like to be the bad guy with teachers. Because teachers have a lot on their plate right now, and they don't really like it when someone comes and hands them a new piece of curriculum and says, "Hey, the district is saying that you need to teach this." And they're like, I already am teaching this, and this," and you know, so I learned how to give that information with tact and also in a way that's supportive, like, "Hey, I'm here to help. I know this might not be ideal, but it's something that our grant requires, so let me help." I also have been on the personalized learning cohort, which is through the Institute in Wisconsin. We have had in-person meetings, we do Zoom meetings. Um, I went to a board meeting with my principal. I've helped with a bike grant that our district did with Lucas. The news, I was actually on the radio. Manhattan Mercury quoted me in an article. I was on KSNT News. That was a really cool experience. And I got to observe uh, a Lawrence School, Woodlawn Elementary School, how they do their bike unit in the curriculum, and I got to come back and present it to our school district's teachers. I also interviewed Dr. Wade, our superintendent, and Lucas Shippers. So, as for my elementary experiences, I have quite a few of these, and unfortunately, due to COVID, a lot of my documents are trapped inside the school right now on my iPad. So I just kind of wrote descriptions of what I did. I did an after school office supervision for an entire year. I did This year, I did the mornings instead, and I started implementing a uh, uh, social emotional curriculum, and I got to present that to our site council. I did a community event, nursing home cup stacking. I did all sorts of events at the elementary school level, interviews, behavior matrix. Our behavior matrix is stay safe, team effort, act responsibly, and respect all. So yeah, I did quite a few work through a lot of this. Secondary, I got to present at vertical alignment meetings, and this year's vertical alignment meeting was actually held on Zoom due to the COVID, so it wasn't an all-day presentation. I presented at a different school district because my principal was like, "Look, you've presented at these schools in this district. I want to see how you do in different districts, different people who don't know you." I shadowed principals at Lansing High School. I made this digital citizenship flyer, and I interviewed the high school SRO, and I got to do a ride along with him, which was super duper fun. And I got to see students in the summertime at summer school, and it was awesome. Officer Townsend, what a great dude. Um, Finally, my reflection. I have learned so much for this program. And when I started this, I literally was like, you know what, this is an affordable program where I can get my nose to the grind, get a degree, become a principal, and keep moving on my path. And I never expected to connect with the people the way I did from an online community where I don't see these people in person ever, but I see these people on our communities and our online communities, and I have a connection with them. They're people I can trust and ask questions. And that's another thing. I feel confident asking questions because I had to ask a lot of questions through this program, and that's okay. But I think overall, I just became more confident in what I want to represent and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and helping others find that intrinsic motivation and helping others find that confidence, including students, staff, community members, whoever it may be. And um, I just want to do something good to the world. And, honestly, I couldn't have done it without a lot of the professors in this class. I learned so much from them. And, you know, my curriculum class really helped me think outside of the box. And, I learned a lot about IEPs, 504s. I learned a lot from financial. Oh, school law was a great class. I couldn't have done it without you guys. So I just want to say thank you. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you. Bye.